I can't believe Sam didn't get to this clip from the Trump Laura Ingraham interview here. This was pretty amazing. Trump is asked here by Laura Ingraham to clarify that statement that he had where he spoke to Christian voters. And he said, just vote for me, just begging, was like, you'll just vote one time and you won't have to do it again. And I don't think he's saying we'll cancel elections, right? He's not. But it also is like, why would you say something like this when you know that a major line of attack against you is the fact that you tried to overturn the election in 2020? So Laura Ingraham is desperately trying to keep him on message and tries to get him to clarify his statements here, and he just can't do it.
They're also attacking you for other ridiculous reasons. They're saying that you said to a crowd of Christians that they won't have to vote in the future.
Yeah, let me say what did I mean by that. I had a tremendous crowd speaking to Christians. I mean, this was a crowd that liked me a lot. I think I'm at 97% or something. And they're treated very badly by this administration, okay? Catholics are treated unbelievably. They're like persecuted. And if I might say, before I go into the other, Jewish people, if you're Jewish and you vote for Biden or the Democrats or Kamala or whoever's going to run, I guess it's going to be her. But if you voted for her or the Democrats, you should have your head examined, because nobody's ever been treated so badly by this. This administration is destroying Israel, et cetera, et cetera. So,
can you pause it?
Like
okay.
A statement.
So she's asked him to clarify what he's saying, what he said about how Christians go vote. You won't have to vote again. He then says that the Democrats, Biden, who's given Netanyahu everything he wants to commit a genocide or destroying Israel. I would say Israel's destroying Israel more than anything. But then he goes on his rant where he can't stop calling Jewish people who have always overwhelmingly voted Democratic, basically self-hating if they don't vote for him, because he has an anti-Semitic notion of Jewish people and their connection to Zionism.
He doesn't even know though what he has nothing to even say about it, which is why he goes to et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And then he hadn't even thought it out. Like, how are they destroying Israel? You want to clarify? Et cetera, et cetera.
Actually, he's one of those guys who says et cetera, et cetera.
He's both lazy and ineffective with this.
I love when Trump tries to appeal to religious voters. He's so bad at it. You can tell he just does not respect Christians or Catholics or like their religion. Like, I would love for him to name even a single book from the Bible, like not even like a passage, just like a single book, a single psalm or whatever. You know, he's so clearly like resentful of them, but also just like thinks very poorly of them. I mean, I can't blame him. American Christians are very much just like pagans who
are really just Christian nationalists or kind of white supremacists. He later in this clip though does yell at them. Can we just get to that part at least? Because to the point of him not appealing to them, he basically talks about how they're disappointing him by not voting enough, which is it's one of the most high propensity voting groups in the country.
Et cetera, et cetera. So with respect to like a statement like I made, that statement is very simple. I said, vote for me. You're not going to have to do it ever again. It's true. Because we have to get the vote out. Christians are not known as a big voting group. They don't vote. And I'm explaining that to them. You never vote. This time, vote. I'll straighten out the country. You won't have to vote anymore. I won't need your vote. You can go back to not voting.
You don't have to vote for you because you have 4 years in office.
Look. Christians are known. You know who else doesn't vote? Gun owners don't vote.
But just to be clear, what you're saying, though, you're not saying it's being interpreted as you are not surprised to hear by the left as well. They're never going to have another election. He's saying there's not. So
first time I've even heard.
Can you even just respond to that?
I said Christians. I started off by saying, just so you understand, you never vote. Christians do not vote well. They vote in very small percentages. Why? I don't know. Maybe they're disappointed in things that are happening, but for a long time. I say, you don't vote. I'm saying, go out. You must vote. November 5th is going to be the most important election in the history of our country. Whether you vote early or not, we should have, by the way, one-day voting. We should have voter ID. We should have proof of citizenship, and we should have paper ballots. Okay, that's what we should
Totally.
have. But we don't have that. But I said to the Christians in the room, thousands of them, I said, typically Christians do not vote. Why it is, I don't know. You're rebellious. Something's going on. Don't worry about the future. You have to vote on November 5th. After that, you don't have to worry about voting anymore. I don't care, because we're going to fix it. The country will be fixed, and we won't even need your vote anymore, because frankly, we will have such love. If you don't want to vote anymore, that's okay. And I think everybody understood it. I didn't know.
I just really enjoy that clip because he's yelling at, basically that's saying Republicans. Christians, he means white Christians. White people are the highest propensity racial voting group in this country, as are conservatives, and older people and gun owners overlap a lot with conservatism. He's yelling at the people who vote the most that they don't vote enough, and doing so very lazily, which, I don't know, he seems kind of desperate here. And I also enjoy the kind of flipping of the roles with Biden as well, because by the end, Biden, they had to kind of like cake on orange makeup with him to make him look alive, and he just couldn't stop ranting about NATO and foreign policy that had no connection to most people. And now Trump is also rambling and incoherent and ranting about foreign policy, but this time it's about how the Democrats are destroying Israel. It's just like, it's nice to have watch the Republicans struggle to have a message or a messenger who can communicate with people in a way that actually matters to their lives.
I just like, he's like, I'm going to speak slowly so the Christians in the audience understand me.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the Christians, if any of them are still watching, and I think the whole like Christian thing, like, Christians are going to be so upset over the Last Supper portrayal at the Olympics. It's like 200 million Christians. Yeah, 1 in 10 of those people actually go to church. Like which is wild to me. Like, as somebody who went to church every Sunday growing up, but before I realized like I don't believe in this, it's wild to me to believe in God and not go to church. I which is apparently what most people Christians do, which is crazy to me. But anyway, here's Peter Thiel talking about Christianity.
Christianity, the main religion of the Western world, it always takes the side of the victim, and there's something where it is like some kind of deformation or intensification, and maybe you should think of wokeness as ultra Christianity or hyper Christianity. It's just sort of like an extreme intensification, and it's maybe there's no forgiveness, and so it's sort of it's you still have original sin, and you have all these bad things that happened in the past. The past is terrible, and you can never overcome it. But there's surely is a religious interpretation that this is sort of what happened is as let's say the church lost a certain amount of authority, but people didn't become rationalist atheist people. They went into this sort of woke religion, which has to be which I would interpret as a certain extreme form of Christianity. Yeah, because
we don't see anything from those tweets.
All right. Say what you want about Peter Thiel, but he is a master communicator.
Oh yeah.
Big time freak. And just doing Nietzsche there.
I do got to say, I love the idea that Joe Biden persecuted the Catholics.
Yeah.
I just love that. He's like the most Catholic president we've had since JFK, right? I mean,
I just love the idea that Christianity is like too victim focused. Like, it's too focused on like the downtrodden, and there needs to be like a branch of Christianity, which I would just call like evangelical Christianity, like, the prosperity gospel that is
Southern
mostly
Baptist.
Yeah, exactly. That is just like mostly concerned with the victimizer, with the oppressor, like that really identifies with that.
Yeah, you have that. It's called Southern Baptist or Slavery Baptist. It's called Southern because the Northern was doing too much anti-slavery stuff, so they created that. But it's funny because like any religion, there's a mix of it, right? Like the Adam and Eve myth is very amenable to capitalist property ownership things. It's like, hey, the owner of that said, don't do anything to it. You don't have permission. Please, lay off it. But also, if you're going to have a religion become broadly adopted by a wide swath of the world, it can't be geared towards the oppressors because there are fewer of them than the oppressed, and you need something in your religion to speak to the experience of most people. So like most religions are a little bit of a hodgepodge between things that can use to control populations or things that speak to populations.
Well, look, I think that we just talk too much about Jesus. Let's maybe just refocus around Pontius Pilate. Let's maybe just like refocus. You hear a lot about Jesus being crucified. He's hanging up there, T-pose. Like, what about the person nailing in
Law and Order.
the nail? Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a good point.
So true.
We should get into that guy's mindset. And you also could just see how new atheism, in the end, like Peter Thiel's money and power is always going to orient itself towards the West and towards money, right? Which, okay, yeah, we're a majority Christian nation in that way. But that doesn't really matter in his analysis. It's mostly about stamping out any of like the remaining empathetic teachings of Christianity in order to just like make the branding of Western power or capitalism even like less religious in nature. I don't really know, but it doesn't matter because he's still donating to Donald Trump, whose major base of electoral power is the evangelical base of this country, and who are responsible for taking away fundamental rights for people who can get pregnant because of their own retrograde views about women.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.